The anime begins with a girl humming a song on a rooftop. She tells us that everyone has a wish they want to fulfill, and to do so, they must enter a fight. Suddenly, the scene changes, and we see a boy who is lost. In front of him stands a giant tower. We then see the girl from the beginning receiving a message. When she sees it, she realizes she has a notification from Rebuild, giving her 1 week to present herself, and she says she needs to find something important. Next, we see that girl is running away from a man who is chasing her. After a while, the man takes out a card that causes an explosion. Luckily, the girl also has a card that creates a magic barrier, protecting her and allowing her to escape. She then finds the boy we saw earlier, and he tries to be heroic by taking her hand. The man, clearly angry about this, demands the girl hand over her chip. As the boy gets closer, he notices the man stepping on the bread and calls him an idiot. Then, the man pulls out a knife and attempts to attack him. But using his card, the boy successfully blocks the knife. Behind the boy, there appears a skull demon behind the boy. After this confrontation, the girl buys more bread for him and praises his strength. He responds by admitting that he doesn't know what the card is and he didn't even notice how or when it appeared in his hand. Surprised by this, the girl tries to analyze him with her eye, but upon finding nothing unusual, she stands up and says she will explain. At this point, she reveals that the cards are called Build Divide and they are necessary for survival and fulfilling one's wish. The boy still doesn't fully comprehend, so the girl takes him to an open space. She retrieves a flying robot and requests a battle. Suddenly, the surroundings transform into a futuristic stadium. Here, she explains that this is a card battle, and each card possesses mysterious powers. She mentions that each battle is played with 40 cards and 1 Dominion card, totaling 41 cards. After providing this information, the battle commences, and the girl unveils her Dominion card, named Laura. The boy does the same and activates his Dominion named Bloom. Here, the girl introduces herself as Sakura, while the boy introduces himself as Krabik. She instructs him that he goes first and must place 1 card into the energy zone. She clarifies that there are various cards with different colors and costs. Krabik examines his cards and selects 1 to place in the zone. Finally, Sakura explains that the battle ends when someone runs out of energy or when all the stars are broken. And so, the battle begins. Krabik uses a card called Nadia to attack Sakura. It strikes, causing Sakura to lose a star. Sakura mentions that she allowed him to do it so he could understand how it works, but now she's going all out. Sakura reveals a card called Moonlight Rabbit and sends it to attack Nadia, swiftly defeating it. Krabik swiftly counters with another card, Krypier, attacking and overpowering the rabbit. We witness Sakura losing another star. She explains that the rabbit's ability is to transfer its remaining life to the energy zone. Now, she can utilize an even more powerful card, taking out a value 5 card that empowers her Dominion card with a massive weapon. The zone undergoes a complete transformation, revealing a base behind her. Sakura activates her Dominion's power and replicates 2 of Krabik's opponent cards. Then, her Dominion attacks Krabik's card, eliminating it. Krabik is astonished by this turn of events. As he gazes upon his Dominion, he experiences a blurred memory. He selects a card and activates his Dominion's abilities. In a moment of premonition, he uses that card. Sakura also activates a card and sends her Dominion to attack once again. Her card blocks Krabik's, preventing him from using it. With this attack, Krabik loses a total of 4 stars. This time, he experiences a severe headache, but he also hears a mysterious man speaking to him, urging him not to lose. In that moment, more memories begin to resurface. Krabik raises his hood and declares that he must defeat the king. He starts selecting his cards and placing them in different zones. These cards cause his Dominion, Bloom, to transform, unveiling a weapon, 2 colossal statues, and a massive clock behind him. These cards eliminate Sakura's cards and summon a Black Knight that launches an attack against her. That surprises her, and she inquires if this isn't his first time playing. However, upon noticing Krabik's silence, she proceeds with her turn. Sakura retrieves 2 cards from 2 towers, utilizing the copy capability of 1 of her cards. These cards shoot and eliminate the Black Knight. Sakura asks Krabik if he knows how to defeat the king, as she shares the same goal. She points out that he only has 2 stars while she has 6. At that moment, she plays a card called Sophia, directing it to attack Krabik's Dominion. In response, Krabik experiences another vision, specifically about the king. He swiftly activates Bloom's abilities, employing an explosion card that boosts Bloom's power to 10,000. As a result, he triumphs over Sakura's card, since Sophia had a power of only 9,000. Now, Krabik sends his card to attack Sakura, causing her to lose 3 stars and leaving her with only 3 remaining. Sakura realizes that she cannot win with her current cards, but she still plays a card called Laura. Although she initially wanted to target Bloom, she realizes it has too much power. Observing Bloom, Sakura reveals herself as a witch with the ability to resurrect fallen units. As it is Karabek's turn, he employs the ability and plays a card called Riverward, easily eliminating Laura. Then, he directs it to attack Sakura, causing her to lose 3 stars and securing victory in the battle. As the battle concludes, Sakura murmurs to herself that she has found the right person and invites Karabek to join her for a meal. She also reveals how to defeat the king. Sakura explains that there is a special battle where one can challenge the king, but to do so, they need 21 key tokens. And if someone possesses the key, they can make a wish. Karabek admits that he doesn't have any wishes. In response, Sakura shares that her wish is to battle the king and asks Karabek to accompany her. Karabek agrees, and Sakura registers him as an official contender. They then head to where Karabek lives, and Sakura inquires if he studies or engages in any other activities. But Karabek is unsure if he attends school or not, as he doesn't remember. He's unable to recall the city he's in either. Sakura proceeds to explain to him that they are in a city called New Kyoto. In this city, Bildive governs politics, the economy, and even the destinies of people. She mentions that those who excel in Bildive enjoy privileges, while those who do not are sent to another district. Sakura reveals that the king is the one responsible for creating this system. Afterward, they take a stroll through the city, and Sakura discusses Karabek being a new contender. Through his eyes, he can perceive if there are other contenders nearby or even view the statistics of others. However, Karabek still has no recollection of anything. Suddenly, a girl whom Karabek recognizes appears and expresses gratitude to Sakura for bringing him back. She then escorts him back to class. In school, a girl notices Karabek and realizes that he has become a contender. After class, Sakura mentions that there are other contenders in the school that he may need to be cautious about. At that moment, they encounter the girl who had been observing Karabek earlier, introducing herself as Hyorgs. She declares her desire to battle Karabek, and he agrees. The girl bets 1 token, but Karabek decides to bet 3. Sakura expresses surprise at his decision and warns him to be careful since those are his only tokens. Losing them would mean he could no longer be a contender. The battle zone materializes, and Karabek worries when Hyorgs plays a card named Doug Glark. Karabek counters by summoning Bloom. He swiftly launches an attack, employing an explosion card that causes Karabek to lose 1 star. It's Karab's turn once again, and he plays a card named Nadia. He directs an attack towards Hiyori, causing her to lose a star. Hiyori retaliates by summoning a Celestial Swordsman and other cards, launching their attacks against Karab, resulting in him losing stars. Karab responds by playing a card called Venya and utilizing a copycat card, creating duplicates of Venya. Together, they attack Hiyori's cards. Hiyori is taken aback by this move and plays a card to enhance her Dominion's abilities, granting Doug Glark armor, but no sword. Doug Glark then delivers a powerful strike, transforming the entire battlefield to match his presence. Observing this, Karab plays a wizard card, causing Doug Glark to lose all his power points, and sends Nadia to attack Hiyori once again, causing her to lose stars. During her turn, Hiyori summons various cards, with one of them eliminating Nadia and another attacking Karab, taking away 1 of his stars. Karab swiftly plays a missile card, launching an attack against Hiyori's card. At that moment, he pulls up his hood and declares that he will now play seriously. He plays a card that activates Bloom's abilities and also activates his territory, leading to an assault on Hiyori's cards and Hiyori herself. As she realizes the situation, she becomes nervous and plays a card on her turn, returning Bloom to the deck, and uses another card to eliminate Karab's troops. However, Hiyori's plans don't go as expected because Karab plays another stealing card, bringing Bloom back and reviving some of the fallen cards. They launch an attack against Hiyori, leaving her with only 1 star remaining. Hiyori plays 2 cards, one of which boosts Doug Glark's power, and the other attacks Bloom, successfully eliminating it. Karab plays a card called Riverwort and activates its ability, which deducts 6,000 points from the opponent's attack. As a result, Doug Glark is defeated, and Karab launches a powerful strike, causing Hiyori to lose her final star. With this victory, Karab emerges as the winner. Hiyori becomes saddened and begins to cry. She shares that she has always lived alone in the outer district since her parents passed away when she was young. Winning battles has been her way to escape the outer district, and now she aims to defeat the king to fulfill her dreams. Karab tells her that her dream will never come true, further deepening Hiyori's sorrow. However, Hiyori must become Carib's apprentice. Carib remains silent, and Hiyori accepts his unspoken request. The next day, they visit a location they heard about, where a group of people bets tokens. Upon entering, they encounter numerous contenders who have lost their tokens. Later, they venture to another area and witness a large protest taking place. As time passes, everyone becomes separated, and Carib encounters a boy. Simultaneously, Sakura meets another boy named Ishinome. Sakura asks Ishinome if he knows anything about the person who took away all the contenders' tokens. In response, Ishinome hands her an envelope containing information about that individual. Sakura reads the contents and discovers a person named Inji, who appears to possess all the tokens. Meanwhile, Inji becomes intrigued by Carib and stealthily makes their way into his house. Soon, Inji realizes that Carib is homeless and discovers that he lives in a tent. Carib reassures him not to worry, as he doesn't mind living in such conditions. Inji expresses his disdain for society, where those who are not skilled in build divide are forced to live in the outer district, while nobody seems to care about their struggles. He declares his determination to defeat the king. By nightfall, Inji receives a call from Sakura, who reveals that she knows everything about him, including where he lives, his age, and even his blood type. She also mentions knowing about his brothers. Inji becomes angry upon hearing this and demands to know who Sakura is. Sakura insists that they must battle. Meanwhile, Carib is with Yori, contemplating the landscape. Inju arrives and shows Carib his collection of 7 tokens. As soon as Carib sees the tokens, he challenges Inju. Inju accepts the challenge, and they both bet 4 tokens to begin the battle. Inju retrieves his deck of cards and summons his Dominion called Lionel. Without wasting time, Carib brings out his Dominions, Bloom, Sakura, and Hiyori. Hiyori notices Inju's intense anger towards Carib and asks if she knows something. Sakura admits that she doesn't have any information. During the battle, Inju loses 4 stars while Carib remains unharmed. This only fuels Inju's anger, leading him to activate the abilities of his Dominion and Territory. Inju explains that his territory enhances his units with 3,000 attack points and directs Lionel to attack one of Carib's units. The attack successfully eliminates the unit, and Lionel continues to attack, impressing Sakura. Inju reveals that Lionel's ability allows it to continue attacking as long as it wins battles. And so, Lionel continues its relentless assault, eliminating each one of Carib's units. It then turns its attention towards Carib himself, taking away 3 of his stars. Unfazed, Carib puts on his hood, determined to overcome any obstacle in his way. He activates Bloom's abilities and his territory, unleashing their full potential. Carib sends Nadia to attack Inju, successfully taking away 1 of his stars. Now it's Inju's turn, and he commands Lionel to attack Bloom. The 2 Dominions prove to be evenly matched, both displaying formidable power. During the next turn, Carib acquires a card that grants Bloom an additional 5,000 power. Observing this, Inju plays a card that further increases Lionel's power, ultimately overpowering Bloom and reducing Carib's star count to just 4. In response, Carib employs his territory's ability, swiftly eliminating each one of Inju's units. He then brings forth the Black Knight, a formidable card in his deck. Inju, determined not to lose, recollects himself and plays a card that can resurrect Lionel. He sends Lionel to launch a direct attack on Carib, successfully taking away stars from him. However, unknown to Inju, a skeleton demon lurks within Carib's deck, resulting in the elimination of Lionel. On Carib's turn, he plays a card that has the power to revive the fallen. He resurrects Lionel and directs it to attack Inju's units once again. With the aid of the revived Lionel and the Black Knight, Carib launches a decisive attack directly on Inju, leaving him with no stars remaining. Carib emerges victorious in the battle, earning 4 additional tokens. Inju accepts his defeat and expresses his desire to change the city for the better. Carib responds by suggesting that if Inju is unhappy with the city, he can seek a different place to live. This statement surprises everyone, as they had assumed Carib was joking. Inju remarks that there is nothing outside of the city of Kyoto, leaving Carib shocked. Sakura then reveals that Carib now possesses 8 tokens, with only 4 remaining to challenge the king. The following day, Sakura asks Carib if she can train under him, expressing her desire to become as strong as he is. Initially, Carib rejects her request, but when Sakura offers him a large quantity of bread, he reluctantly agrees. On the other hand, Inashima expresses his weariness from reading too much. At that moment, a girl approaches him, expressing her desire to meet Carib. Inashima hesitates, fearing Mario's reaction, but the girl threatens him, compelling him to take her to Carib. The scene transitions to the park, where Carib's group is gathered. The girl from earlier arrives and begins speaking to Carib. She proposes a challenge. If Carob can defeat her, she promises to give him a significant amount of bread. Suddenly, the entire surroundings undergo an instantaneous transformation. Carob inquires about their current location, but the girl becomes angry upon seeing Sakura and forcefully pushes her into a wall. Undeterred, Carob accepts the duel and summons his Dominion, Bloom. The girl also summons her Dominion, named Margiria. Inashima observes the unfolding events, ensuring Sakura is distracted to prevent her from interfering in the duel. Carob and the girl engage in battle, exchanging blows. As Carob closely observes her, fragments of memories begin to resurface. However, he disregards them and continues the fight. The girl activates the abilities of her Dominion in her territory, launching a fierce assault against Carob. She smiles and declares that he is the only one who can entertain her. Intrigued, Carob questions how she knows his name, realizing that he has never disclosed it to her. Her reaction appears hurt, and she asks if he doesn't remember anything about their shared experiences. In that moment, Carob's memories start to resurface, and he acknowledges that he recognizes the girl, although his recollections remain hazy. The girl intensifies her attacks and demands to know why he returned. She asserts that she is the only one who can be his friend. Carob finds himself left with only one star, while Chinome, observing the spectacle, takes pleasure in the unfolding events. Suddenly, Carob's determination to defeat the king resurfaces. He revives Bloom, summons the Black Knight, and directs it to attack the girl's cards. The girl, overwhelmed with joy, bursts into tears and reveals that Carob has always been one of them. They continue battling with their cards, but the girl emerges victorious in each round, delivering the final blow. In that moment, the girl's mask shatters, the battle zone vanishes, and everything returns to normal. The sight of the girl's face surprises everyone. She informs Carob that she is amazed he knows Rika because he is so determined to reach her. Rika is the king. Sakura arrives at this point, and Ishinome accompanies Rika as they leave the scene. Carob is still in shock, realizing that Rika is the king, and he reveals to everyone that she is his little sister. The following day, Yuri and Sakura notice that Carob is feeling down after losing his little sister. Meanwhile, Rika engages in battle with another contender who possesses the same cards as Carob. Eventually, Rika emerges victorious, but it is revealed that the opponent was a puppet. Mario appears, expressing interest in the puppet, and expresses her desire to fight Carob. Mario informs her that she will have to wait for him to come to her for the battle. Afterward, Mario calls her servant, Limp, to take Rika to bed. Cables surround Rika's body as she prepares to sleep. Mario approaches Ishinome and questions him about taking Rika to Carob's location the other day, expressing concern that it might interfere with their plans. Ishinome reassures her, explaining that for Mario's dream to come true, Rika must become stronger. Afterward, Ishinome mentions that he is going fishing. On the other hand, Sakura and Hori attempt to uplift Carob's spirits, urging him to prepare to face another contender. Sakura asks if he no longer wishes to battle the king, and upon hearing this, Carob silently leaves the place. Sakura and Hori then head to a restaurant, where Sakura asks Hori if she finds Carob strange. Sakura reflects on the fact that since they first met him, he hasn't remembered anything. He didn't even recognize the concept of Build Divide or the city of Kyoto. Sakura also recalls the moment when Carob questioned why he shouldn't leave the outskirts of Kyoto. Hori remains indifferent to the situation, describing Crawby as a careless boy. Sakura recalls something important, but the focus shifts to Crawby fishing with Ishinome. Ishinome senses Crawby's worry and notes that he seems afraid of losing. Crawby tries to deny it but experiences a flashback of losing his sister. Meanwhile, Sakura urges Hori to reveal Crawby's location so that he becomes a target for other contenders, hoping it will help him regain his confidence and ignite his fighting spirit. Hori is hesitant about the idea, believing Crawby may need more time to recover, but Sakura ignores her and shares Crawby's location with all the contenders in the city. As Crawby continues fishing, he remembers his childhood days of playing Build Divide with Rika, always losing to her. Rika was the only opponent Crawby could never defeat. Later, Hori arrives with Sakura, and they find Crawby still fishing. Sakura grows frustrated with him and throws all the fish back into the river. Finally, Sakura questions if Crawby has encountered any contenders trying to fight him. Crawby confirms and hands over the tokens he won to Sakura, totaling 11. He reassures Sakura that he hasn't lost his path and is determined to defeat the king. Sakura asks for his promise as she has placed her trust in him. Crawby agrees, affirming his commitment. Meanwhile, a man named Daria approaches Inju, inquiring if he is the one defeating all of his students. Inju confirms this, prompting one of Daria's students to challenge him to a battle. Later, Inju wakes up in his room, finding Hiyori, Sakura, and Krabai with him. Sakura explains that they are in her house and they are safe. Krabai had discovered Inju lying outside his tent and brought him there. Hiyori asks Inju about what happened to him, and he reveals that he had a battle. Inju mentions facing the individuals he was searching for and mentions Daria. He explains that while he defeated all of Daria's students, Daria's strategy involved observing Inju's battles to anticipate his moves, ultimately resulting in Daria defeating him. Inju also reveals that Daria kidnaps people for experiments. Upon learning about Daria's actions, Krabai's group decides to seek revenge and confront him. They infiltrate Daria's laboratory, posing as individuals interested in studying in his lab. During their conversation, Daria attempts to hand Sakura a cup of coffee, but it passes through her hands and falls to the ground. Daria then assigns one of his students to give them a tour of the facility, where they learn that magic medicine is being studied and that Daria believes Build Divide can have applications beyond battles. However, Hiyori notices that Sakura is no longer with them. Krabai quickly incapacitates Daria's student using a card, rendering them unconscious. Shortly after, Inju arrives, and they inform him about Sakura's kidnapping. Hiyori accidentally stumbles upon a secret area, leading the group to investigate further. Inside, they discover multiple people lying on stretchers. At that moment, Daria's voice emanates from a speaker, revealing that he has Sakura captive. He warns the group not to resist if they wish to avoid harm befalling her. Daria commands his students to capture them, and the group finds themselves surrounded. Determined to save Sakura, Krabai decides to take a risk and uses a card to create a hole in the floor, providing an escape route. Meanwhile, Daria has Sakura tied up, expressing his excitement about commencing experiments on her. However, Krabai interrupts their encounter, challenging Daria to a duel. Daria accepts the challenge, and Krabai places 11 of his tokens at stake for the battle. Daria reveals his desire to become the king in order to revolutionize the world with magic medicine. He activates Rebecca's territory, causing Krabai to lose 2 stars. In response, Krabai also utilizes his Dominion's territory and sends the Black Knight to attack Daria's units. However, Daria's Dominion has the ability to steal Krabai's cards and use them against him, reducing Krabai's star count to just 2. Undeterred, Krabai employs Bloom's ability to revive his defeated cards and launches a counterattack, successfully defeating all of Daria's cards and eliminating 3 of his stars. As a result, all of Daria's defeated cards are returned to the deck. Krabai seizes the opportunity to unleash a final assault, breaking all of Daria's remaining stars and emerging victorious. Expressing gratitude, Sakura thanks Krabai for rescuing her, and Krabai feels compelled to repay her for always taking care of him. Meanwhile, Daria receives a call from Mario, who deems him useless. Suddenly, puppets appear and attack Daria, leaving his fate uncertain. The following day, Yuri shows Sakura a hotel by the beach, explaining that it recently opened and offering to take her there. Sakura reveals that she has only read about the sea in novels. Yuri mentions that the installation recreates the sea, which, for Sakura, has only existed in fiction. Sakura, excited about the beach hotel, convinces the group to go. The next day, they enjoy the beach and sea throughout the day. A surprise awaits them when an idol appears and captivates everyone with her incredible singing. Sakura encounters the idol, named Miharu, and they playfully compete for the last tropical drink available. They decide to have a Build Divide duel, but Sakura easily emerges as the victor due to Miharu's lack of experience in battles. The following day, Krabai visits a bakery and strikes up a conversation with the owner. The owner reminisces about how both Krabai and Rika, his sister, always enjoyed the bakery's bread. She shows him a photo from their childhood and explains that their close bond was disrupted by some family issues. Reflecting on their separation, Krabai leaves the bakery. Moments later, he encounters Ishinome, but when Krabai asks what he wants, Ishinome remains silent. Suddenly, the surroundings undergo a dramatic transformation, and Krabai realizes he is back in his childhood room with Rika present. His body regresses to its younger form, and Rika suggests they play Build Divide. However, it becomes evident that Rika doesn't know how to play the game properly. Krabai reminisces about how he used to teach Rika and always emerged as the victor. Yet, the game takes a real turn, and Rika begins her attack. Despite Krabai's attempts to defend himself, he ultimately loses the battle. Rika exults in her victory, while Krabai sinks into deep depression. At that moment, Ishinome reveals to Krabai what happened afterward. It becomes apparent that Rika continued to win, and Krabai, consumed by anger and frustration, stopped playing with her. Although Rika asked him to play with her every day, he chose to ignore her, causing a rift in their relationship. After a few days, Rika's appearance changed, and due to circumstances involving their parents, they were separated. Before parting ways, Rika asked Krabi to play with her one last time, and he agreed, promising to meet the next day. However, when the day arrived, Rika discovered that her cards were missing, and it became clear that Krabi had taken them. This event marked the end of their connection. Ishinome then returned Krabi to the present, prompting him to recall these past memories. Deeply affected by his recollections, Krabi ventured to the place where he had hidden Rika's cards, only to find them there. He mused that he had always been bad at handling this particular situation. Night fell, and Krabi reunited with Sakura and Hiyori, surprising them with his absence during his battles, as he returned with only 3 tokens. Meanwhile, Mario eagerly awaited Krabi's arrival, and his servant informed him that Rika's time was running out. All the while, Ishinome observed these events. The following day, Krabi encountered a boy named Seiki, who, like Krabi, was 1 token away from challenging the king. Sakura warned Krabi not to underestimate Seiki as he summoned his Dominion, Vertica, while Krabi wielded Blue Mount. The battle commenced with both contenders wagering all of their tokens. After a series of exchanges, Seiki removed his Dominion territory, intensifying the battle. Ultimately, Krabi emerged victorious, securing all 12 tokens necessary to face the king. In a surprising turn of events, the tokens transformed into a key, which Krabi presented to Sakura. She expressed joy at finally being able to fulfill her wish and bid farewell to Hiyori and Krabi as she used the key to confront the king. Sakura then shared her story, revealing that she shared a similar experience with Krabi. Upon awakening, she had no memories, not even her own identity, until Ishinome appeared and bestowed upon her a new existence as Sakura. However, she gradually realized her differences from others, as she never experienced hunger or sleep. Ishinome reassured her not to worry, explaining that she had indeed defeated the king. But her wish remained only halfway fulfilled. He disclosed the truth that she was not the true Sakura, but rather a soul without a physical body. Sakura became distraught, questioning her humanity. Despite her despair, she resolved to confront the king once again, hoping to secure another wish and reclaim her body and memories. Ishinome entrusted her with 3 tokens, and Sakura declared that she would find someone who could assist her. Eventually, she encountered Krabi. She recognized that he was the one destined to find the 12 tokens. Meanwhile, Inchu discovered Sakura's betrayal of Krabi, and Hiyori, leaving him deeply upset. After some contemplation, Krabi stood up and expressed his desire to assist Sakura, knowing that even if she defeated the king, her wish might not come true. It was then that Krabi revealed his previous victory over the king. Meanwhile, Sakura reached the king's location, only to find Rika disappointed by Krabi's absence. Sakura challenged Rika to a duel, which Rika accepted, and they began their battle. During the fight, Sakura noticed Rika's peculiar strategy of placing cards back into her deck, prompting Sakura to question her motives. Rika responded by questioning Sakura's enjoyment of spending time with Krabi, listing all the reasons why she believed she understood him best. Fueled by anger, Sakura intensified her attacks, activating her Dominion's territory against Rika. Sakura managed to counterattack, reducing Rika's star count to just 2. Rika, fueled by frustration, began taunting Sakura, claiming that she was nothing more than a mere puppet born in her image and that her wish would never be fulfilled. Despite this, Sakura refused to give up, acknowledging her differences from others and expressing her determination to persist. Just then, Krabi arrived with Anju and Yori, supported by Ishinome. Krabi pleaded with Sakura to halt the fight, insisting that she was real and valuable, regardless of her physical form. However, Rika's anger grew, and she unleashed a devastating attack from her Dominion, destroying Sakura's final star and securing victory. In her last moments, Sakura expressed gratitude to Krabi for standing by her until the end, as she slowly faded away. Hiyori, overwhelmed with sadness, couldn't help but shed tears. Meanwhile, Rika absorbed her other half, becoming even more powerful. Consumed by anger, Krabi challenged Rika to a duel. Accepting his challenge, they prepared for the battle ahead. However, as they were about to commence their fight, Krabi's memory flashed back to the moment he defeated the king 3 years ago. Suddenly, he awoke in an unfamiliar location, where a robot attendant informed him that he was in Kyoto but had returned to that world. Unable to comprehend his surroundings, Krabi realizes he is on a massive island. After several years, he is granted a meeting with the boss, who turns out to be Mario. Mario explains that he lost his physical body long ago and now exists only as consciousness. He reveals that he has been observing Krabai and believes he is the ideal candidate to receive his consciousness. Perplexed and overwhelmed, Krabai attempts to flee, but the pursuing machines suddenly cease their chase. He finds himself in a vast space, eventually entering a room where he encounters a different machine. Seeking answers, Krabai demands an explanation for the situation. The machine reveals that this is a virtual or open system where citizens are connected via cameras, allowing their consciousness to be transmitted to the system while they sleep. This revelation angers Krabai, realizing that the city he believed to be real was nothing more than a virtual construct. The machine leads him to the central unit that controls everything and explains that a person is chosen to construct the world. To Krabai's astonishment, he discovers that Rika is the central unit. Determined to return to the virtual city, Krabai returns to the present where he resumes his battle with Rika. This time, he unleashes a different territory, launching a relentless attack that reduces Rika's star count to 3. On her turn, Rika expresses her resolve not to lose. The battle continues, with Krabai playing alongside her until the end, despite his apology for the childhood trauma he caused her. Rika, overcome with emotion, confesses that she always believed Krabai hated her. They continue their intense duel, each left with only 1 star remaining. In a pivotal moment, Krabai plays a card he took from Rika when they were children, summoning it to attack. Using his fairy card, he eliminates Rika's last star, securing his victory. Suddenly, the entire place begins to crumble as the central unit attempts to reclaim Rika. Krabai summons Bloom, who frees Rika from the clutches of the central unit. Meanwhile, Inju reveals to Mario that he is his father. However, amidst the chaotic scene, the central unit once again targets Rika. Krabai urges her to try to return to the real world as everything crumbles around them. Krabai then awakens, but it appears that he is still trapped in the virtual world, and the anime concludes with this unresolved situation. So that is it for this video. Guys, hope you enjoyed it. So if you like the video, then hit that like button and leave a comment for the next part. Most important, subscribe and press the bell icon for notification. I will meet you in the new video. Till then, bye.